Hey everybody, it's Mike, and I want to go ahead and take a few moments to address a few of the questions that have come up since the convention, since the project, and we'll go ahead and start. Let's see what the first one is. What fears did I have in costume? The easiest one, not passing. We put in a lot of work, there were a lot of people involved in this project, and not passing would have felt kind of like letting them down. Not only that, but it would have meant that my premise probably would have lost. So, pride getting in the way there. Another one is actually admitting to cross-dressing to the people who weren't aware, who, for the results, I had to reveal it to after the fact. The people at the convention who knew me on a normal basis and could pick me out of a crowd, having to reveal to them, reveal to friends, that sort of thing, getting the data. And don't get me wrong, the actual process itself was a blast. It was a big adrenaline rush, which I wasn't expecting, but terrifying to admit to some people I've known since I was a little kid that, hi, here's this picture. What do you think? Oh yeah, that's me. So yeah. When I'm celebrating myself, is Ellie giving me a hand job? Wow. We had to go there? I'm not the kind of guy that would tell anyway. Sorry, guys. What are the major struggles that I see for a male to female trans? Um, I think first and foremost is just maintaining that circle of friends. And this one's kind of twofold. It's a major life change, and in order to make the transition, you're going to have to learn to accept a lot of feedback. And being in that position in the first place, that feedback's going to be really hard to take. And I mean that in the best way possible. And the knee-jerk reaction when anybody is giving you feedback is to push them away. It's to reject it and go, well, I'm doing it because of this, or I feel this way, or you're not supporting me, or to make a bunch of excuses. And as funny as it sounds, like I've said this before, I have a lot of formal training in voice, and one of the things you learn to do when you're a performer, when you're working with voice, is to take feedback and criticism, both constructive and destructive, and try to grow from it. And the day-to-day person, especially one who's suffering from a clinical issue, that's not an easy thing to do. That is a big thing to ask. So I think that's realistically the biggest struggle I see. Do trans people feel the need to alter their appearance? If you would have asked me even this last year, my answer would have been yes, because that's part of the definition of being dysphoric, is you think you're in the wrong body. So naturally, shouldn't it follow that you're going to try to make that change? There were a few ways of treating dysphoria when that was the accepted norm. The first was to either try to get over it. Some people couldn't, it is what it is. It's tough to do unless you have the willpower, and if you're already really dysphoric, it's probably not going to happen. The other is to get a lot of counseling, varying degrees of success there. The other is to actually transition. So that one being the most expensive of the bunch, to be flat honest about it, because you still have to go through the counseling to get all of those medical procedures done. And since I'm not trans, I'm pretty well going to be talking out of my butt for the rest of this. Having just said that, the modern trend, you can call yourself a trans person and not have any desire to transition. And it's kind of a Tumblr scene thing, and it's accepted now. That's right there with the pronouns them, the, them, they, which you kind of want to slap that idiot upside the head and go, excuse me, no. That means that you're saying you're multiple people, because them and they are plural, meaning more than one. So that doesn't mean you're trans. That means you're schizophrenic. It's still a mental disorder. So that is what it is. But the modern answer that most people would give you is, no, trans people don't have to transition. Don't have to feel like they have to transition. They just have to say they're trans. was my favorite part of the experiment? Um, Getting treated better by the general public. That sounds so funny to say, but it's true. And I think as a guy, it's very noticeable. There were certain people who avoided me throughout the weekend for the days that I was the normal me, who, when I was dressed up as Sunset Shimmer, had no problems approaching me. Kids, women, who just happened to like cosplay, wanted to take photos, things like that. They were willing to approach me when they thought I was a woman. As a guy, I got the, oh my god, is he a rapist look? To borrow the expression, the entire world's a stage, and in light of that, trying to fool everybody, this is easily the biggest stage I've ever performed on. Ever. The impact on my self-esteem? Really? Cool. A lot of people have accused me of being cocky in the past, or arrogant, and they're going to hate hearing this, but it just amplified with this. I took something that was way out of my comfort zone and testing a premise that I was really leery about because, like I've stated before, I don't have the dysphoria, I don't have the incentive to do this right other than just, ego. And it worked. It worked very well. People that have known me for a good chunk of my life were even impressed, didn't even recognize me. And so my confidence just kind of boosted up even higher because I was able to take my performance level that much higher. So, yeah. Another thing was that I now can see more clearly what girls go through, and that kind of helps your self-esteem there too, because you know what's going on, right? But it's not necessarily good towards the girls. I feel more confident in my, I'll use the word disparaging feelings about how a lot of women are, because I feel a lot of women are very narcissistic, more so than I am, and that a lot of women like to pass the buck. And I'm going to give a good example right now. The whole getting dolled up, the high heels, the makeup, they say they're doing it for men, that men require them to do this. Being a guy, I can say that unless we're going to a formal affair, I don't care much, and a lot of guys I know don't. Now, admittedly, I was costuming and whatnot, but in doing this, a lot of the girls were like, oh, you need bigger boobs, you need bigger boobs. Seriously, out of the dozen or so girls that I worked with throughout this project, only 2 thought that the chest I'd picked out was the right size. And that's not the only area. The makeup, there was all this little catty competition where the girls wanted me to do things a certain way or this or that. The nails. And this is all a lot of one-upmanship on the part of women. Because what it does with the hair and the makeup and all of this stuff is it shows that a girl has time to take on herself, which for women is a luxury. If you've got time to take on yourself, you've got somebody taking care of the odds and ends for you. You've got somebody else worrying about the manual labor. You've got somebody else worrying about the cooking, the cleaning, because you're just focused on you. And so it's women having this one-upmanship going on. And so that helped my confidence as a man, going, okay, so I can be more choosy with these girls because a lot of them really are just, I'm going to say it like it is, a lot of them are really just a basic bitch, which has made me insufferable to quite a few people, I'm sure. Am I introverted or extroverted? I took 2 tests for this. The first one didn't give much help. It gave a 100-point scale, and I fell pretty close to squarely in the middle. 44 out of 100, so close enough to the middle. Another test that I took said that publicly I'm introverted, and that's fully plausible, and I hear a lot of you screaming already, but you said you're a performer. Yes, I did. And performers tend to be very introverted. This is normal, because we can't say what we really are thinking to most of our audiences, and not only that, most of us are paid to be other characters. When you're paid to be another character, you need to act like that character. It's not you, it is that character. So, And you pick and choose what you say and who you say it to, because if you offend the wrong person, you're going to get turned down for jobs, things like that. So out of the profession that I studied for, I learned very quickly to keep my thoughts to myself. It seems really weird doing a YouTube about my thoughts. But there's a second part to this. Privately, it says I'm an extrovert. Damn straight. And that's because I keep a close circle of friends. If you're trying to do this with a large circle of friends, it's not going to work. Because kind of like with the public issue, you'll tick somebody off and they'll walk away. The smaller group of friends, you can pretty well say what you want to say. They know you. They appreciate you for who you are. And so you can express yourself more freely with them. Well, that concludes this little bit of a Q&A. And if you guys have any more questions, I might do another one if there's enough content to at least make a decent 5-10 minute video. Till then, see you next time.